Warning.
4th of W, a Wisconsin sports podcast, may
contain language that you don't want your children or anyone with sensitive ears to hear.
We swear without caring, Nick, on this podcast, and sometimes if you have sensitive ears in the room, they may get a little offended, but
we will definitely have the best Packers, Badgers, Bucks content, and just the type of stuff that the Karens in the world will be okay with it. Maybe.
I think you can get by, but if you are worried about it, please listen later when those people aren't around. We appreciate it very much.
Appreciate you. Bandwagon.
Spelled like words.
Oh, hey there, John.
Oh, yo ho. Hey there, Nick.
And we are back, and we are doing another live episode as we do each and every week.
As we do.
And this week we're doing it on a Tuesday. Next week will also be a Tuesday because next Monday is Valentine's, and you and I are both very much married. So that's a thing you got.
Valentine material, you and I.
Yeah, absolutely. Worth taking to every wedding for the rest of your life.
Yep. And we got the hardware to prove it.
I actually wear the silicone pretty frequently.
Okay.
Silicone ring. I have a really nice ring that my wife bought me, but frankly, like with my job, I just can't always wear it. So silicone does the trick. If I lose it, who cares? But anyway, that's a whole other story. One team that we're going to talk about this week has no additional rings, and I'm talking about the Green Bay Packers.
Yes.
Another disappointing finish. Gonna definitely talk about them this week.
Yes, we are. I am very swiftly moving straight along to Bucs season. So if the Packers want to just get their news out of the way as soon as possible, I'm ready to head straight down I-43 past the big ass flag whenever anybody brings up the Packers right now. But Nick, we do have a lot to get to before we hop into the full-on off-season for the green and gold. Disappointing couple weeks early.
Yeah, and honestly, like it works out perfectly because you've been kind of ready for Bucs season to be the main thing since like October.
Yeah, this Packers season did not grab me the same way last year's did.
I hate when the season grabs me. That seems like it's just a little offensive, but you do you, man. Yeah, you do you, man.
I love it.
And then, of course, we're going to talk about what's going on with the Badgers, Bucky Bugle. Now, right now, as you and I do this podcast, the Badgers are tangled in a Big Ten matchup with the Spartans from Michigan State, an inferior state that pretends it's not basically half ours when we know it is.
Well, the thing with Michigan is there's a lot of bones to pick, a lot of friendly bones to pick between the two mittens of America. And the first bone to pick is obviously the Upper Peninsula. For those who don't know, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah.
And
strong feelings about that Upper Peninsula on this podcast.
Absolutely. But moving right along beyond the Upper Peninsula, which is an extended arm of Wisconsin that has for some reason been given to Michigan for no reason.
It's like a flag on our mitten.
Yeah, it is. It's like a flag on our mitten, and it's in Eastern fucking time, Nick.
And that's weird, too, because you're like...
We're in Central Time.
It makes no sense. Why is Michigan on
Isn't Indiana? It's like Texas.
Indiana doesn't do daylight savings. So they're like, so that's what throws me off, man. So anyway, we'll have to ask our Purdue folks how they know.
Yes.
Let's consult.
What is the deal with all the time? I just heard they were running seconds off the world clock for some reason or something.
I don't know, man.
Anyway, maybe that was some like deep Reddit dive in. But anyway.
I think we can all agree it's a deep-seated conspiracy theory to stop the Packers from winning another championship, and it worked.
Yes, because here in Wisconsin we have Lombardi time and no other time.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah, and
it's just Wisconsin time, Lombardi time. It's just very simple.
There's
to figure
two
out.
times.
There's daylight savings time because otherwise it would be dark until like 9 a.m.
If we're lucky.
Yeah. But, Nick, I think it's important that we remember in the darkest times, thinking about this Packers team that left us so soon, about a team that actually does have rings. That's the Milwaukee Bucks, who we'll be getting to later on this episode.
Yeah, and in
That's
between
our closing
those
segment.
yeah, so it's like what, Packers, Badgers, Bucks.
Yep.
We kind of talked a little bit about each. A lot of excitement around the teams still playing, and just some
Absolutely.
tidying, because some custodial work on the Packers.
Oh
stuff.
yeah, some really custodial activity, mopping, dusting, throwing out of old things.
Yeah, and of course, in that process, we're up north soon. We're going to be up there pretty soon. You got to collect your sticks.
Yep.
Got to get ready for the fire.
Yep.
While we're doing that, before we get there, though, I do want to remind you all that not only can you find us on YouTube now, just search For the W Podcast, and we're doing that. We can be found everywhere at forthew.buzzsprout.com. And as I mentioned, that's our main feed. And from there, you will find that we are, in fact,
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
We are there.
everywhere you find podcasts. That's great.
We are also on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're on Reddit. We're on all hosting platforms of podcasts except for Pandora. And also, Nick, what we do need people to do is rate, review, subscribe,
And share.
Yes, and share. And 5 stars is actually the only rating currently being accepted at this time. I know there was a lot of fake news out there about us accepting less than 5 stars.
It hasn't happened yet.
No, and it's not what we're going to be doing this week anyway. So,
And that's the thing, too, is especially we've talked about it from time to time, supply chain. Right now, there's a major gridlock of a bunch of different trucks, and that's where all the less than 5, I guess. But
if there are any.
Yeah, if there are any. So 5 stars is the
Could
only
be
rating.
a hodag type situation.
You know where we can find some hodags, John?
Where?
North.
Let's go.
Ah, yes. And up here, John. I'm delighting in this nature. Still pretty cold. Ice still frozen. Still close to that flag at the end of the mitten that is Northern Michigan, the UP as we know it.
The reason for my enjoyment of this current cold snap is actually because it was too cold and I had to go. I went to LA this last week because it was too cold for me, Nick, too dark for me. But here among the Northwoods, I'm reminded that there's natural beauty in the dark and the cold. But I think it's due to the fact that I was somewhere warm that I can enjoy this, because it's been a really crazy winter, especially later winter. Like January, February especially has gotten very wintry here.
This is what's funny, though, is so you're in Chicago.
Yes.
I'm just a little bit further north of that, and
you got none of it.
I got none of it.
And Wisconsin got none of it. Wisconsin got...
Well, there's like a band, right? Like everything like north of Milwaukee seems to be getting it at least worse than here. But yeah, and then everything south of us here has been getting... So
yeah, the ice storm that's been going across the United States and into the southeastern United States, it very much hit Chicago and very much missed anything north of Chicago. So once again, proving Wisconsin's got a real good relationship with weather in general.
It's been really good. I'm very pleased with it. And one thing I will say is when you're up here in the North Woods, and John, what do you do around the campfire? You tell stories.
Yep.
You read quotes, John.
Yep.
And this is a week that I'm so pleased, because this week I'm co-opting an idea you started with that I didn't enjoy.
I got you hooked.
I know. I don't know.
You got the barb in you.
The barb. Let's just call it the spirit of the W.
It's a great segment.
Yeah. What, it's a segment now? What do we call it?
The spirit of the W.
Spirit of the W. So wherein, if you've been paying attention the last few weeks, and how dare you if you haven't.
I mean, come on.
I'm breaking the fourth wall to say, how dare you if you haven't. But, John, it's time for me to share with you the quotes of a famous Wisconsinite.
So exciting. So exciting. I'm all ears around this campfire here, just crackling. I'm just going to sit back, close my eyes, and enjoy.
All right. So I have specific quotes, specifically tailored to the 3 Wisconsin teams we're mostly covering this week.
Ooh. A multi-quote all-star?
Multi-quote all-star. This man has many a quote. And as always on For the W, this is a Wisconsin podcast. But this particular famous Wisconsinite also has a name that starts with W.
Whoa!
So, back in the limelight. Welcome back for the first time ever, but also back into the limelight because he's now starring in the new Spider-Man movie. Willem Dafoe is back.
Oh,
Willem Dafoe, famous Appletonian.
Oh,
Willem. Feels good to...
I just watched Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. Willem Dafoe plays Klaus, excuse me, the youngest brother in spirit of the Zissou the Ocean Company.
Go see the movie. You'll enjoy
anyway,
it.
Willem Dafoe's wonderful in that.
He's pretty much good in everything he's in.
Dude, he's so good.
He's like got one of those
Saints.
He's got one of those crazy faces. Of course, American Psycho. Anyway,
he brings that Wisconsin energy to every role he's in.
Or just creepy. He's got a very expressive face.
Yeah.
But the most important thing about Willem is how
he played Jesus.
The most important thing about Willem is not only his acting, portfolio,
right,
but also the fact that he's written some incredible quotes about these current sports teams. Wow. I don't know if he wrote them. Someone wrote them down after he said them.
Yeah, he writes orally.
Yes, he writes orally. And so one thing I want to bring up, and this is geared towards the college team from Madison, the Wisconsin Badgers.
Okay.
And you and I were talking about this earlier, and as exciting of a team as this is right now, we're just not in that prime part of the season where people are aching for Badger knowledge.
Right.
Or so it seems. This is a Badger team that needs to continue to get people interested. We've had some guard years, and I think people are really they're wary to love again. What he said about this team is he said the worst thing is to get involved with people who aren't passionate about what they're doing. He's right. And that's why the Badgers should just continue to win. And then once we get a little further along, then people will get involved at March Madness because that's when seasonally appropriate. And I think that's when we're going to really find out at that time if this is the team that we think they could be or the team that Greg Gard has traditionally put on the court.
Yeah, interesting stuff ahead, but you and I are going to be here for all of it. At least the Bucky Bugle will be.
The Bugle will be sleuthing and truthing, and whatever Willem is willing to provide, we're happy to accept.
Thank you, Willem. Moving
right along, though, John, Willem also had some thoughts about the current iteration of the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
And I'm going to loosely attribute all these statements directly to the Packers, but they're literal. This should be completely literal, I think.
Right. Willem Dafoe meant to say this to the 2022 Packers in their offseason.
Actually, he meant to say this directly to Matt LaFleur. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Matt LaFleur did some incredible things his first year. Now, let's get to the quote. I think on some level, you, Matt, do your best things when you're a little off balance, a little scared. You've got to work from mystery, from wonder, from not knowing. I think we need to see what Matt LaFleur can do when he doesn't know who's his star quarterback.
Yes.
I wonder who could be our featured offensive player this week. Matt may ponder if William is, speaking to him the way that he is clearly here.
Yeah.
So that's the message for the Packers this week. Let's get into some mystery. Let's get into some wonder. We've got a good core. Let's break it on down and get rid of some of these older players. That's not popular, I understand. So let's move right along, I guess.
Times they are changing.
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe's favorite musician, Bob Dylan. I don't know if that's true or not.
Moving right along.
Without further ado.
For our Milwaukee Bucks.
And your Milwaukee Bucks.
This is something that the Bucks need to just embody this for themselves.
Exciting.
I never act. I simply bring out the real animal that's in me. The Bucks need to just bring it on out, man. They need to stop this shit where they play down to their poor competition.
Yes.
They need to just basically go out there and just play Bucks ball and get really in the swing of things. If it's a crap team, we'll know it. If it's a good team, we'll know it. But we just got to get into our game and hope that Brooke comes back. That would be really help us get the animal out of us.
Now, we have been playing some bad teams. And like I said, I did go out to California, and the Bucks also went on a West Coast trip, stopping originally in Portland, swooping down to LA. And what I can say definitively is that the Bucks have been listening to William Dafoe a lot. And they have taken those words to heart and have been bashing people ever since. And
ever since the chicken, almost.
I am so excited. There is so much Bucks to get to on this podcast. We've got Moose back, Nick. We got Brooke doing a back check. We got Chris in the All-Star game. There's literally like 6 topics I don't even have time for right now.
That's some good stuff. And I think it's going to be awesome for anyone that's willing to stick around to listen at the end of the episode for our featured segment this week.
Yep. Milwaukee Bucks it's time now. It's time.
I mean, and it's
Bucks season.
This is when we're seeing it. Bucks, Badgers, a lot of excitement. And just around the corner, man, we got to bring Francisco back because we're going to have some Brewers coming. I'm really excited about this time of year.
Absolutely.
March Madness to me is like the unofficial start of spring. That's just a few weeks away.
Yeah.
Dude, we're almost to the promised land. And then, of course, after that, we're going to have the NFL draft, all that kind of stuff, too. So, man, this is a fun time of year. I'm always like, it's always melancholy because the Packers always just got busted out.
Yeah. Now I don't even care. I'm Bucks all the way.
But, yeah, it's nice to have other competitive teams to get into. So that's the good shit right now, man.
Yes. Anyway, Nick, where are we heading first?
So first on our list, we're going to be heading to Green Bay. Why don't you guide us?
Short drive.
Yeah, I mean, can you guide us a little bit? I'm just going to try to find the intro here.
So we're going to head straight east on Highway 10, Nick. I don't know necessarily how we're going to get over to Highway 10, but once we do, we're going to head straight east. That'll take us right to Green Bay. I can't remember. Are we west of Stevens Point? I don't know.
East of Stevens Point. Yeah, we're up here. Just going to head on down. We're going to go past Crivets. Everybody knows about Crivets. Head on down.
Crivets.
Yeah. Head on down. We're going to get off.
They don't talk like that in Crivets.
No, maybe they do. I don't know. It's a mystery. Go there, find out.
A small southern town in Crivets has arisen.
If you're from Crivets and you want to talk about dialects, send a voice message to podcastforthew@gmail.com. 5 impressions only. And I think that'll take us there. Let's go to the Titletown transmission.
Let's go.
Forgot my 3. I'm going to wing it.
I got my 3.
Nice.